Hi, Peter. How are you?
Good. Today we're going to see to make a demo with bndtools and the ECF, Eclipse communication framework. We're going to make a service that communicates, will be discovered between two different processes. I'm all set.
Okay, go ahead and share your screen if you would. Well, we start by creating an API project. So
let me go back a little bit to see what's in there, because you have set up a CNF, which is the basic thing for the bndtools workspace. You got a build.bnd in there and an AXT file.
That's right.
And that one contains the dependencies for ECF.
That's correct. And then the central.maven file has the dependencies on OSGI and Felix.
Okay, these are all the service APIs, and this is the distro basically. Okay, makes sense. Yes. We got 3 repos here: the central, and then the ECF remote services and the templates. Okay.
Right, and there's also a template. The template directory has project templates and bnd run templates.
Okay, that's just in the jar that is part of the repositories.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to create an API project for our service API. So you can create either an async remote service API project or a regular remote service API project.
Let's start simple and do the normal remote service API.
Okay, sounds good. And call it whatever you like.
Yep. And we used Java 1.8, I saw.
Although it can be anything now. So
yeah, I'm still not ready for the new stuff.
Sounds
you
good.
You specify 1.8 here, so it should be okay. You have a hello service.
Which is a very simple greeting API.
You give it a string and you return a string. Okay. Looks good to me.
Okay. Then let's create an impl implementation of this service.
Remote, that's a consumer impl project.
That's correct, yes.
Then it would be com.example.hello. I always call them providers.
Okay. Specify that by choosing next. Yes, there. And this allows you to specify the package name of the API that you created just a moment ago. So that's com example hello.api. And now we can finish.
And this is the configuration for the server, for the distribution provider to do the communications.
That's right, for the remoting, yes.
Yeah, that's remote OCI or distributed OCI. Okay. What do we got in here?
So there's a single class that let's talk about a little bit here. This class, first of all, it implements the hello service. So you can see that it provides a very simple implementation of the service that you just created a moment ago, the service API you just created.
Yeah.
It also has an annotation as a component there at the top. This will make an OSGI component at runtime and export this service by using the next annotation that you have there. This specifies this is an OSGI standard exported service. And this is saying that it will export the hello service using the service exported configs given there, the ECF generic.server. That's the distribution provider that will be used for this export.
Yeah. Okay, so that looks...
All right. And so now we have an implementation project. We also have a BND run as part of this this project. You could also create that BND run via the template that's provided, but it's here automatically.
Okay, let's use that one then. So what do you do there?
Basically, we have as requirements the ECF remote service distribution provider. That's the generic one that we saw before that's used in the impl. And then it's got the OSGI services.distribution is the RSA implementation, the remote services admin implementation. That's the OSGI spec for remote services admin.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's got the provider.jmds. That is the discovery provider that we're using here that will use multicast to automatically discover the remote service. And then finally, we have a console bundle that we include so that we can do debugging on the remote service admin implementation, and it provides us console output about what's going on at runtime.
Log, yeah.
And then there's the Felix log and the GoGo console bundles and event admin, which is also part of the RSA implementation. And then finally, the implementation bundle itself.
Okay. So I can resolve this.
Yeah.
That looks good. It looks like a full set of bundles. Can I start it?
Yes, you can. In fact, if you want to run it in a debugger, we can debug into it.
Debug.
So now it's starting up, and in a moment here, it'll print out the export information as part of the debugging of RSA. There it goes.
That's an endpoint description, I guess.
That's right. That's right. This is a description of the exported service, the exported hello service. And it has a number of properties that specify, details about the service and its capabilities for consumers who, import this, receive via discovery this endpoint description, and then can import the service based on this metadata.
Right. I remember the terminology, if I'm correct, was you export service, which is happening because of the annotation we put on it.
Mm-hmm.
And because we export it, we create, or the framework creates an endpoint description. That endpoint description is distributed to other people outside the process.
Right.
And then using the endpoint description, they can import the service in their local OSGI framework.
That's right. And the endpoint description can be also made available via discovery. And in this case, it is kind of both printing it to the console here and sending a multicast with this same information on your local LAN that can be discovered by other processes and used to import the service.
Okay, so I guess we need another process then.
Yes, we need a consumer. So let's add a consumer for this service. And again, we give it a name, something like the others. And we provide the Hello API package.
And now we have a consumer, and let's look at the code.
Okay, so as you can see, this is also a component which has injected into the constructor the hello service implementation.
Yeah.
And
so this is,
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I see that you have a reference to the hello service. So this will be a remote service.
That's right.
And you said that there's an instance variable, and then you have a GoGo command called hello, so you can specify the name. That's good. That's
right,
nice.
So that you can call the hello method from the console. And that's what we'll do when it runs. So what happens is that when when you start this consumer, it will via multicast discover that endpoint description, and it'll create the hello service proxy. This is all done by the distribution provider. It'll create that hello service proxy and then inject it into this hello service consumer via the constructor injection that you see in front of you there.
So the the distribution provider knows that we want to have this service because OSGI tells him that we are looking for this service.
Mm-hmm. That's right. And
okay,
so,
cool.
Yeah.
So I need to run it. So we have one process running here.
Mm-hmm.
We have GoGo running here. And now we're going to start a second process.
And this one looks exactly like the first one in terms of requirements, except for the consumer at the bundle at the bottom.
Okay, so let's resolve. And then we debug. So we now, that I think is hard, actually, should make sure that I got the whole screen. We have two processes here. We have the hello provider and the hello consumer. And here in the consumer now we see the discovery, I guess.
Right, theirs was the discovery, and you could see that it says import registration at the top of that output.
Yeah,
that means it found the multicast discovered endpoint and imported that endpoint and created an import registration for it and printed it out to the console. So it has now injected that hello service proxy into the hello service consumer.
So if I do help, we should see the command now.
There it is.
Help consumer. Yeah, this is the command, the GoGo command. So I
That's the
should be able
GoGo
to
command
call it,
that's
but
now available.
let's put a breakpoint in the provider. I want to see if it really gets there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this one runs in the implementation project, the provider project, and
right.
now this console runs in the consumer project. So if I do hello, Scott, yeah, we debug, go to debugger. So indeed, we get the name Scott, that works, and we return, and that get into.
And it prints out on the consumer side. We didn't take a look at the consumer code, but that hello sync to Scott is in the consumer implementation.
No, we didn't get it. We didn't print anything out in the provider, so the provider we don't see stuff.
Right.
So I know that you have more GoGo commands. Can you quickly?
Sure. We're on the consumer here, aren't we?
We
are
are
on the provider.
On the provider, the implementation.
Well, how about there's a console command to show the exports or to list the exports. So type that one. And see that provides information about the exports that have been made. There's an endpoint ID that's created and assigned to this export when it's exported. And there's a container ID that specifies the, as you can see, the host and the port and a path for this communication. And then there's the service ID on the provider that of the service that is actually underneath that export.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
I should be able, I want to see, here I'm on the consumer, so I should be able to say list imports.
That's correct, yeah.
And that's correct as well. Nice.
There you go.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, and there are a whole bunch of other sort of debugging and information commands that are listed on the wiki page associated with the ECF remote services.
Yeah, oh, this looks really good. I think this should give people a good introduction into ECF. So what did they do? They basically make a copy of the GitHub repository.
Mm-hmm.
That is a complete workspace. There is also an async example in there.
That's correct, yes.
And then they can start working. Sounds good. I actually might need it soon, so it might come in really handy.
Well, excellent. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, and I'll put it in a video.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. Thank you very much, Peter.